All right, Joe, I need your help selecting the energy supplement that we will have sponsoring our streaming channel. And I selected these two. I got reached out to by a number of energy supplements, but I am very sensitive as a person with pretty bad ADHD. I've had to deal with that my whole life. I'm very sensitive to caffeine, very sensitive to energy supplements. I chose these two because they sport a healthy appeal and both position themselves as healthier options with jitterless, clean energy. And we want to dive into that a bit. So I did do research on both of these and found the content and reviews very much lacking. A lot of the reviews that I saw online were mainly focused on people just kind of pushing the product because they had already accepted sponsorship instead of actually providing a realistic review. So I wanted to provide a realistic review. We'll go over briefly taste and ingredients, but then I want to actually dive into my actual experience doing a week of Dubby, which is our first option, and a week of Rogue Energy, which is our second option, right? And what are the differences? What is my experience? Whether that was crash, anxiety, jitterness, or how it impacted or did not impact my sleep. So let's dive right in, starting with flavors. The flavors for both have a variety. They're very different. I found that Rogue's flavors felt a little bit less chalky. This is the sour candy. My favorite actually was the tiger's blood, but it's consistently sold out. Dubby, this is the Galaxy Grenade, which is one of my favorites from them. And they have a lot of really cool options as well. Both of these also provide hydration options. This is actually the Rogue one, and Dubby has one as well. I haven't actually tried the hydration, but this is a completely different blend that is focused mainly, like I said, on hydration, so it has completely different breakout. Rogue also offers chill, just to throw it out there. Dubby does not, but Rogue offers chill, which is completely different blend that focuses on chamomile, theanine, and a number of other nutrients that help you relax. I did try that one throughout this kind of experiment, and I found that it was really a noticeable change that was almost non-existent, and I'll explain what that means in a bit, but it did kind of help, right? So just an option here, and just information on the different options that you have for these two brands. So let's dive into the rest of it. I liked Rogue a little bit better, so I'm gonna give that the dub on the taste. I think that it did better with the options, less chalky, felt more like juice, and it makes more sense because it does actually provide sugar versus no sugar, and we'll definitely jump into that next. But taste, I think that the flavors on Rogue were just slightly better, but let's be realistic. We're not choosing an energy supplement just on taste alone. That's not why you choose energy supplement. You choose it based on the actual impact it has on you. So let's dive into ingredients, starting with Dubby. Right, for Dubby positions itself as a healthy brand based on its proprietary blend of Neurofactor, which is a nootropic blend, and a number of different nutrients, specifically targeting your brain's functions like taurine, tyrosine, glutamine, and these are all things that are table stakes for energy supplements nowadays. If you grab any can of energy drink, you'll probably see a mix of these and carnitine and stuff like that. So that is the ingredients here. They do have a proprietary blend called Neurofactor, and that's where it primarily gets kind of the focus, the energy, on top of the actual caffeine that's in here. So the caffeine that's in here is 150 milligrams, and that is a lot, right? And it has the Neurofactor, which is their big push, and 0 calories, 0 sugar in this one. Kind of explains why it's a little bit chalkier. In my experience, the numbers here are a bit high. I, again, am very sensitive to caffeine. Now, I had a few moments where I was a little bit anxious and racy, but I'll explain that in a bit when we get into the actual week to week on both of these. When it comes to Rogue delivers its energy using a mix of caffeine and theanine, which is something that's also been proven to work, right? You see this a lot on probably a bunch of different videos where they say, oh, this energy comes from theanine and caffeine and all of this stuff. that it does work, right? And as a person with ADHD, I have found a lot of success in being able to get a nice boost of energy from mixing these two things together. So it also sports a number of other ingredients from all the vitamins, where it's C, D, B3, B6, B12, magnesium. It also has taurine. It also has theacrine as well. So both of these provide a very, very similar kind of jitterless experience of energy, a clean boost of energy, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a bit. But they do it in different ways, right? A nootropic blend that is low sugar, no calorie, and a caffeine and theanine blend that is low sugar, low calorie. All right. So what was my experience? My experience on these is very interesting, because when it comes to the actual delivery, we mentioned that Dubby has 150. Rogue actually provides two options, right? The base option with the scoop that it provides is the 1 scoop option, actually only gives you 75 milligrams. And all of the ingredients here are pretty low when it comes to that 1 scoop. And I thought that that was interesting, considering that across the board, most energy supplements are going to be 100 plus minimum, most of them closer to 200 milligrams. So I was actually really weary of, like, what is this even going to do? Is it even going to be noticeable? What was interesting about it is that I found that it was noticeable, but it also was almost non-existent. And what I mean by that is that taking this one in the 1 scoop increment made me feel like I was just naturally waking up throughout the day. It made me feel like I didn't necessarily need more energy. I didn't feel like the afternoon crash. I felt like a very, very smooth transition from my day-to-day routines. Whereas with the Dubby, I sometimes felt like I was having these racy thoughts and a little bit anxious sometimes. Very few times I didn't feel jittery necessarily, but I did feel like there was a bit much, and sometimes I felt like a little bit head racy. I didn't feel any of the tinglingness that I get from other supplements, but I did kind of get that a bit from the Dubby, and I did not get that from this. But both of them felt like a very, very clean boost. What do I mean by clean boost? When it comes to the both of these, some of the options throughout the week of taking Rogue and taking Dubby, I chose to take them later in the day to see how they impacted my sleep. Because I do tend to do a lot more work and try to be more productive later in the day. For some reason, that's just kind of who I am. And what I found was, when I was taking these, while I could stay up as late as I wanted to, and I didn't feel like I was kind of burning the candle at both ends, it felt like it was a natural, like, productivity, like, phase where I was just getting things done. But I also realized that if I looked over at the clock and realized maybe it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I didn't feel like I had to stay up or I couldn't go to sleep. I could just say, oh, it's kind of late, let me get some rest. And I could lay down and go straight to bed without feeling like I was, anxious, worried about the next day, or having a bunch of racing thoughts, which is usually something that I deal with whenever I take energy supplements anytime after 12 p.m., to be honest, anytime in the afternoon, and sometimes in the morning too. So I felt that was pretty smooth on both sides. It was a lot smoother with the Rogue, but the Dubby really didn't struggle with it either. So I found that both of these were really, really, really great options when it came to that jitterless feel. But like I mentioned before, we can't necessarily have 2 sponsors for our stream. But if we did, then this is kind of how it would work. Which one should you choose? If you are really, really, really into that kind of health conscious movement, no calorie, no sugar, you're okay with sacrificing a bit on the taste, but you're also okay with having larger amounts of these nutrients and caffeine, intakes and all of that, then I would go with Dubby, right? It was a great option, great experience overall. Their branding is actually pretty cool as well. If you're okay with having a little bit more sugar, a little bit of calories, low calorie, low sugar option, you want a mix of different flavors. You're actually really interested in having flavors that taste really good, less chalky, and you're interested in being able to kind of scale up or down depending on what your needs are that day, then Rogue is a really good option for you as well. I'm interested in what people have experienced, and if you have tried any of these, what has been your experience, right? Have you had any issues with these? One thing that I didn't note throughout the period of taking these was digestive issues. Energy supplements tend to trigger a lot of digestive issues, especially for people with ADHD. Has anyone had that? I didn't really see any noticeable change during the period of time that I was taking either of these, but I'm interested in if anyone else has had experiences with those. But what is your vote? Are we team Dubby? Are we team Rogue? Do we like the option of having the chill? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you do all of the things you're supposed to do. Like, subscribe, follow, share, and I will see you on the next one.